From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's the Executive Spotlight.
Today we're talking about digital retailing, AI, text messaging, silver bullets, and OTT. Welcome to the AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, our guest is Sam Vukas from Dealer eProcess. Welcome, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
Well, hey, we got a lot of topics. I just went through them all.
Yes.
Let's get started with digital retail.
Okay.
Is digital retail for every dealership? Do they need to be doing it? How do you feel about that?
I don't think the answer is for every dealership, but I definitely think most should have it. The question is not necessarily should every dealership have it, more or less, do they have the right one, right? And the pandemic sparked a rise in digital retailing, which is good. The industry needed to move away from just everything being in-house, but it's still the second largest purchase that anybody's going to have in their lifetime, and there's still a consultative approach to this. And most of the people that I know in the industry look at buying a car many different ways, not just buying like a laptop essentially. Some people buy cars to fix their credit. Some people have really bad credit and they just need a way to get around because their car broke down. All of these things, no matter how good of a system you build, are not going to accommodate for those. So really the question comes down to, do dealers that need digital retailing have the right one? And they have to look at it from three ways. Number one, is it easy enough for just your average shopper to go get a payment who, again, customers don't buy cars every day. The average person's swapping in and out of a car maybe in 4 years, 5 years. If you lease, maybe a little less. They're not in the nitty gritty every single day. So some just want to know payment. Some want to get enough done that they're going to save time at the dealership. They want to know what they qualify for. Most people don't know what 0.9% or the $5,000 means when they see the ad on TV. So you have to have enough built in. Now, granted, there still will be plenty of customers that want to go A to Z, right? They want to go on. They're a long-time Honda buyer. They want to buy a Passport. They're just going to go on. This is the one I want. Click, boom, done, and go. You also have to accommodate that as well. Building that into one system is very tricky. And on my way here, I was mentioning to you a little bit ago, I was looking at the Passport. And I go to the website, started at Honda, I get taken to a local dealer, I get to the site, the car's there, okay, it's in transit. Tier 1 told me it wasn't in transit, said it was there. I go to the VDP, and there's 3 different buttons, all linking to 3 different systems. So again, I take it back to, does every dealer need it? Not every dealer, but most I think do, especially franchise dealers. But is it the right one? And in the case of this dealer, they had 3 different vendors all trying to vie for my attention on a purchase path.
Wow.
It's a tricky setup. So.
Yeah. I mean, did it give you any reason why you might take one path versus the other, or was it just kind of a flip of a 3-sided coin?
It was a flip of a 3-sided coin. I'm not going to mention all the ones that were on there, but all had a different approach. They all had different names on the CTAs. One was branded with something But again, I was just like, I'm just somebody that was looking at the Passport, and again, I'm in automotive, and I'm just like, I wonder what this $54,000 SUV, I wonder what the current rates are and what rebates are available. That's really all I wanted, was just looking at affordability and everything else. I couldn't easily get to that no matter how hard I tried.
Wow. Let's shift to another topic that's going to be even more fun. You know, at NADA this year, I think there was maybe 660 booths, somewhere around there.
Yep.
And 659 of them had AI.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there, and there's a lot of messages being told to dealers right now, and they don't all agree. Can you kind of cut through the smoke and tell us, what should dealers be looking to achieve with AI right now?
Yeah, so, AI, I remember, not this past NADA that just happened, but 2 years ago, I remember it was just on the crux of ChatGPT, and everybody there wanted to talk about AI, ChatGPT, large language models, content generation. There's still some problems with content generation. While it definitely can be a great starting point for writing SEO content, you still have to have somebody verifying, right? Like, you will find that these AI dreams or hallucinations that they call them happen all the time. And unless you have somebody trained that knows the details, you may not catch it, right? It may use a previous year model's details because it doesn't have the new 2025 information. So it's going to use something previous. So there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, like you mentioned. You have to be careful and vet what people are saying it does or doesn't do. You also have situations where I've seen a chat company, their system was tricked to sell a Suburban for $1.
Wow.
So there's still things, the industry with AI is rife with potentiality for problems, right? But again, we're headed in the right direction, right? It's something that AI is going to be permeating through many different industries, and we just have to learn to accept it, build upon it, and be better with it than fight against it. Now, I hear some dealers are fearful though. Some dealers go, okay, if you're doing something with AI, we may not want to do business because they are concerned about the things like I mentioned, bad information, trying to sell a car for $1, losing control of something. Right now, I think the industry's best chance for AI in many things, obviously chat is one of them. If you have a chat platform and you're building that out, great. I think AI can really help. Speed to answering a customer's question is always number one. Most of the time, if it's done in-house, people are not staffed up enough to answer at a moment's notice. And if you're just having the chat company do it for you, they don't know the inner workings of your business. You can give them transcripts and things to say, but they don't really know. So the AI models there can be used, but really the conversation comes down to big data. And everything with CDPs that are going on and everything with GA4, dealers must be overwhelmed at this point with all this data. So I think the ones that are leveraging it for data analysis and looking to help them from a business operations perspective, look, digital has so many data points. Nobody is staffing somebody full-time to go through as a business analyst simply for just website activity. So that's where AI can truly help.
Now we're going to shift gears to another topic.
Okay.
Text messaging has become probably the number one way that people communicate these days, whether that's good or bad. I don't know. Everybody has a different opinion. But the government has a strong opinion, and they like to change the rules on text messaging.
Yes.
What's going on right now, and what should dealers be doing?
Well, so they've come out and made a rule that essentially they're trying to limit robo-texting, right? And just mentioning AI and everything else that we just talked about, again, we want to leverage those technologies to help. And while I think it's great to have AI out there trying to communicate with clients to pick up customers that you've lost that haven't been in a while or somebody where a lead went cold, great. But the expectation from the consumer perspective is if you have a bot that's texting me, I didn't opt in for that, right? So the government's trying to, just like with robocalling, trying to make sure that the general public is not being inundated with just a bunch of crap that's just sending them phone calls and text messages and all these things. So now it has become a requirement, and I know a couple CRMs that are requiring the website vendors work with them and their dealers to implement privacy policies and opt-ins for texting, because the government will start cracking down if they find out that there's automated services that are texting customers where they have not explicitly said, yes, I'd like to opt into automated telemarketing text messages, things like that. So it becomes very tricky. So unless you are texting directly, like if you were working on the CRM texting me, you're fine, right? You're a human being texting me. I can say, no, please, Brian, don't text me again. Okay, not a problem. I'll put you on a do not contact list. But when you put them into a queue where it's just rapid fire out, that's what they're trying to avoid. And I know there's a lot of companies out there that do this. There's a lot of repair order follow-ups and purchase follow-ups and all these companies that mine data from the DMSs and just shotgun these things out there. They're really cracking down on that. So people got to really be careful when they're signing up for those services, make sure the websites are disclaimed. That will cut down on lead conversion because the more boxes I have to check and fill out my preference of communication and if you want to contact me or not. We see it in the numbers as a website provider.
Yeah.
The more things you put in front of the consumer, the less you're going to have that lead conversion. So just things to be aware of.
And that makes sense. I mean, in a former life, I worked for a CRM company, and you would tell people, and this was the email days, don't email all your customers all the time.
Yeah.
But what happens in the last week of the month? They would all email all their customers every time, and it makes sense. I mean, that you can definitely burn through your customers, and they'll either opt out. But it's important knowing the tendencies of people that have to earn their job every 30 days, that you want these people opted in, because there's a good chance that somebody in your building might pull the trigger on that huge communication.
We had to sign up for something similar. So we use a company internally for our phone systems, right? Not going to mention names, but anyways, we had to sign up for, it's called a TCR registration essentially. And even though we had transferred these phone numbers from our Comcast lines and Verizon lines into this system to just use this app so all of our employees had access and easy transfers and all that, we had to go and explain, hey, we're going to use text messaging to contact our dealers. And they're like, well, for what? Well, because we need to talk to our customers, right? And we had to go through a full process. It's called I think it's TCR. I have so many acronyms, I get them confused sometimes. But this is essentially the same thing that they're going after for these automated texting, because they want to make sure that if you're using it for marketing or if it's automation or whatever it is, that people understand that they can opt out and that you need to stop contacting them. They just want to hold companies responsible. So if we used it and just started mass marketing text messages out to people, pretty sure my dealers would get upset. They'd be like, why are you sending me these text messages all the time? So dealers, make sure you're not doing that to your customers, because we're not doing it to them.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's crazy. Like you buy a pair of shoes to play pickleball in, and that company will send you a text and an email every single day, and you wonder like how. I love those shoes, but I'm probably not going to buy another pair from you because you won't leave me alone. Like, do I really need another pair every day of the week? No.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for the sign up like, hey, give us your phone number and get 20% off this. I'm going to give you the phone number to get the 20% off, but after that, I'm like, hey, stop texting me.
Yeah, as soon as you get the code.
As soon as I get the code, stop texting me.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
That's so funny.
Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Well, hey, we've talked about some of the more interesting topics right now in the space, but now I'd like to kind of even go beyond that. There's a lot of silver bullets, and there always have been in the car business. I mean, when you were on the other side, when you were in the dealership, and I remember when I was, and I definitely remember on the vendor side, you'd always hear dealers say, everybody that calls me has the newest, neatest, most amazing thing. In fact, one of my friends actually taught me that line, or silver bullets. Have you seen any silver bullets right now or lately that will save dealers?
Well, if I go back to NADA in New Orleans, I had swapped badges with a dealer of ours, a client, and I'll tell you what, it's a different world when you walk around NADA with a dealer badge on. There's 5,000 silver bullets out there. To your point, it's always, hey, what's the latest and greatest? Some of them, look, every company's got their new claim to fame. Everybody's working on new stuff with the ultimate goal of helping dealers sell cars. And I respect that, and I love that. One of the things that I've seen personally that I can vouch for, the infiltration of the Amazon OTT and leveraging some of that data. So for those that may not know, there's a million OTT plays that are out there, right? And it's all with different data. But when you have the Amazon data for using that from all of the information that they have, that audience targeting is insane. Like, think about it for a second. You shop on Amazon just like everybody else does.
Yep.
You may have bought something for your car on Amazon at some point, maybe wiper blades, battery, something, right? It could be the smallest thing you never think of, maybe like an insert for your armrest for, holding change. They know what car you have, unequivocally. They know what year it is. They know how old it is. They know potentially how many miles are on it. Not only do they know what's in your garage, they know what life events are occurring. They know, do you have a kid on the way? Did you just get married? Do you need a new car? Have you been shopping for car seats? Do you currently have a sedan that's in your Amazon garage that you're buying parts for? Now you're looking at car seats. I know to serve that person an SUV ad. And again, the audience targeting down to the devices, whether they're using an Apple TV, a Roku stick, whatever, you know that you have a captive audience. As opposed to somebody scrolling that's, hopefully they got the ad in front of them. They're sitting there watching TV and they're paying for a service that can be targeted using this Amazon data, using their DSP to push all this content out there so you know who you're hitting. So, I mean, honestly, the numbers that we have seen through our Amazon OTT division are just absolutely insane. It's the closest thing I would say to a silver bullet, just because everybody is trying to find a new way to get messaging out there. People bought a bunch of cars during COVID. Rates are different now. Manufacturers had pulled back on rebates. The state of new vehicle sales is constantly changing. I feel like we've lived a lifetime in the last 4 years. Yeah. So it's like, how do you get information to these people in a new way where everybody is now, some people are still working from home, some people are hybrid. So we know TVs are on in the background. It is just the perfect way to hit them. It is honestly, like I said, the closest thing I'd say to it, and it's absolutely fantastic.
It's a tale of two dealerships. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Oh yeah, no, it really, right? It really is. Yeah, it really is.
Well, let's dive a little deeper into OTT because I mean, it really is a tremendous opportunity for dealers. With the Amazon one, you're talking about the different life events and the other things people buy. Like, I mean, I'm guessing if they buy surfboards and fishing poles and things that are long, and they have a little vehicle, you maybe send them pickup trucks, SUVs, vans. Yep. So you're identifying in your market or in your customer base all these reasons why these people might want particularly different vehicles. Like, would a dealership be running like a minivan campaign to the people that are buying cribs and diapers, and they're running these would be multiple campaigns that are running, and what do you kind of set it up and maybe revisit it every month or two to see how it's working? Like, if you just run it on like, instead of saying I want to spend $5,000 this month on this campaign, can I just say every person that pops up that looks this way in my market, and we just kind of spend until I spend it all, or how does that work? Yeah,
so there's a couple different strategies, and I don't want to take any of the clout away from the team that does it, so I'll do my best to explain it. Yeah. what they do is they really look at, number one, the size of the market that they're working with, obviously what brand of vehicles that they're working with, and then they go ahead and they target these audiences. And to your point, if you see somebody that has a tendency for outdoors activities, such as like fishing, kayaking, whatever, we know that they're in a certain segment of vehicle, right? Same thing with sedan drivers, same thing with van shoppers. It's something as simple as a baby registry, right? Can immediately take somebody that was maybe originally in a sedan market to, oh, this person has an associated baby registry. That completely changes that audience. Now, depending on their marketing budget and what they want to spend, you can just run one ad, you can run 5 ads, you can run 2 ads, whatever, right? We just kind of make it work within the budget. And then we buy the spots on those different type of streaming services to where we're going to say, okay, this is the type of audience we're looking for, this is the time frame that we want to spend the amount of money, go start sending these ads out there. Creative is fully done using run footage from OEMs, overlaying dealer information, overlaying payment information. The kind of really cool thing, obviously, if you're a full-blown DEP customer, all of these things do connect and talk to one another, from their payment setup on their digital retailing that feeds into the content that can be overlaid on the video. So if you're advertising 289 payments on the website, it can say 289 on the OTT run video. Wow. There's a lot of really cool things that have been done. So when we talk about stretching every dollar, if you could essentially know that, hey, I can go fishing in a lake that I've never gone to with no GPS and hope I catch a couple, or I can pay this guy who's going to take me out on the boat that has a GPS, that's lived on this lake for 30 years to take me to a spot where I know I'm going to catch 50 fish, you're going to do the second one, right? And
I'm doing it Friday.
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's what OTT is, right? It's like, okay, do you want to just go with an agency that's going to go out there and say, oh, there's so many fish in this, let's just go catch one. Or do you want to go, no, they're over here. And that's what that Amazon data does. So again, it's stretching that dollar, it's using all of those signals, and it's driving actual people that are in market to the website. And again, if you use the full DEP suite, there's a lot of personalization stuff that we can do on the Everest platform to, again, take that same kind of messaging that they saw and then regurgitate that out, because we know the audience that we just drove to that site. We know how to then tailor the website to fit what that person's looking for. So there's some really cool stuff out there.
Wow. So I mean, I'm guessing there's a few different things that can trigger a person getting this. So they might have come and shopped on the site, and now they're gonna get this. They might have ordered diapers, and now they're gonna get this. Or they might, the dealership might just have them as a customer and feed that way to get it. So like you're doing both, I guess, retention marketing, you're doing conquest marketing, and you're doing kind of, I guess, prospect marketing of people that have already been to your site but maybe haven't bought from you. So you're kind of touching the entire ecosystem through Amazon.
Yep. And we have an active shopper network where we buy data from a data broker that can take it a step further to where we can feed that data in to help create those audiences. So beyond just using those Amazon signals and some of the audience data and targeting, we can then take additional targeting information that has propensity scores for what people may be in market for, what they're looking for, what their consideration set is. So if they're looking at a Kia, you can see what their closest consideration is. So then you can tailor some of the content. There's a lot of really cool stuff that we're doing with data. And again, it is really the best way right now to stretch that marketing dollar, to see the immediate results getting to the website from not only traffic, but to conversion to sales, is really doing a number right now.
Wow. What about the people that don't use Amazon? Which I was actually shocked. This weekend I went to a hockey game.
Are there people that do that?
I went to a hockey game with my little brother, and he's 13 years younger than me, but I mean, he's an adult, and he has a place and a job, and I told him, I said, just download some shows off Amazon Prime for your flight, because I took him to the airport, and he's like, well, I don't have Amazon Prime. And I was like, wait, what? What do you mean you don't have Amazon Prime? So what about people like him? What about is there an effective way through OTT to reach the people that, all 4 of them that don't use Amazon?
Oh, yeah, right. No, yeah, the four people that don't use Amazon, yes, we can still target. So there are, again, a number of different signals that we use. I say Amazon only because that is, I look at it like the jet fuel to everything that you can do with OTT, right? So there's still traditional ways to get that audience data, to get that targeting, all the different streaming services. You can still find audience and timeframes and engagement metrics to be able to send that messaging out there. The Amazon piece is it's a rather important one because it's all of that additional data, right? But to answer your question in short, yes, the audience targeting for the people that aren't on Amazon, we can still reach those people. Again, active shopper network, some of that additional data that we buy from brokers, all of that can be leveraged to do that successfully.
Okay, and I guess you would target them through the programmatic ad exchange for the hundreds of other streaming services.
Yep.
Great. Well, Sam, is there anything more you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, I mean, digital retailing, you know, I know we kicked it off when we started, but I feel like right now it's an interesting time because of all of the consolidation, and there's OEM programs, and then there's OEM backed digital retailing. And so I just would like to reiterate again, you know, it's not about should everybody have it. Yeah. It's do you have the right one, right? It's really crucial to make sure that the customers that are getting to your site, like when I did that Honda website, that you don't land me somewhere, especially somebody that knows the industry, and then just confuse the hell out of me. Like, because I'm looking at this going, okay, I just want a payment. Like, I know how to get the payment. I can do it, right?
Yeah.
But now you've got three things in front of me. One's taking me to a finance form. One's a payment calculator, but I got to get pre-qualified before I can use it. Another one I clicked just took me to KBB. I don't know why. Make it simple, right? So if you can't hand it to somebody in your family and they can't go online and find their price and at least do a portion of that digital retailing, then you got to find another vendor, right? And there's vendors that are out there that are taking, advantage of this current shift in the dynamic of digital retailing and trying to tailor like what we're doing, trying to make sure that it's flexible, it's customizable, it can be done for any OEM, and just talk to those vendors and just try to figure it out, because one size does not fit all. And look, not everybody's going to be the perfect fit for every single dealer. It's just make sure if you have to have it as a requirement, you have the right one.
Great. Well, thank you for coming in today, Sam.
No, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
And I'll tell you, you've been a great sport, because I asked you a question, everything from digital retailing to the kitchen sink. I mean, I think we covered all the hardest topics that there are to talk about. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time to join us for this AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, my guest has been Sam Vukas from Dealer eProcess. We hope to see you again on a future episode. This one's Over the Curb and Burning Gas.